Welcome everybody. Today is August 14th, 2017. It's the Noyantis user group. As always, any questions or queries or... Oh, sorry, just 1 second. Any questions or queries or ideas, put them forward, raise your hands, and let's go through them. So let's open the mic, see if anyone's available, and we'll also start by giving you an update of where we're up to on version 18. Just check for questions. There we go. I'm just going to open a couple of mics just to make sure people can actually hear me. So if I go with, it doesn't really matter, one of the Davids, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep. Make sure we are broadcasting. John normally does that part.
Terrible background noise in my place as well.
Okay, that's no problem. It's just John normally does that part. It's all going to hell in a handcart today. John's not here, and my broadband, which I have been experiencing technical issues all day. So if the webinar suddenly goes, it's because I've just been cut off, and I can't do anything about it, unfortunately.
Okay.
So apologies. Okay. So update. I'll just mute you 1 second. Oh no, I'll tell you what, David, if you want to mute yourself and then speak when you want to.
I'll mute myself and keep on muting as necessary.
No problem, no problem. Okay, so obviously, and I know David had one of the questions which was sent was to do with version 18. I actually probably do with feedback on this. This is the UI for the version 18 theme settings. So the version 18 from a code drop point of view and initializing and the reg recom, as I said last week, that's done. And the thing I've been struggling with this week, only part of the week to be fair, was to do with the letting you select the new ini settings, the new theme settings. So for example, if I was to choose 2007, you can see this drop down only includes just the relevant parts of the 2007. If I was to choose 2010, now we should get some, and we don't. That's typical. This is the thing I'm currently battling with, because that is supposed to have changed the actual content. Just let me check the actual settings here. Just 1 second. It might be that that's actually a bad example. So sorry about this. Just let me show you the how it would be for the next one. Okay, sorry about that. So onto the UI, and what should happen is we can see that's specify, but it has got the black, the blue, the silver. If I was to choose 2013, then this does include so many more. So you can see just how many we are talking about. So we can access. There's loads, as you can imagine. Oops, as you can imagine. Some kind of selection issue there, and so on and so forth. So that's basically the thing that we're working on at the moment. I've got to admit, it's not really flowing for me. If anyone wants to give feedback on that particular part or ideas of how you think it could be made better, I genuinely am all ears. Because it just doesn't seem to be flowing correctly. Of course, I've got the limitations of the actual Clarion template language. I was hoping we could just have one particular entry and calculate the from, depending on the theme selected, but it doesn't let you do that. So I'm having to do quite a bit of magic already behind the scenes. Basically, yeah, feedback on what you see there.
Andy, where are you getting the actual data from? What do you do to do it?
In what respect, sorry?
For populating the drop-downs. I mean, they look quite fine to me. I'd be quite happy with sort of selecting in that sort of manner. I don't know about other people. But I was just wondering, what's the actual problem that you're having with it? Is it getting hold of the data or something like that?
No. All the data's already calculated, and the new equates, there's plenty of. There's loads of new equates for all of these. In fact, what you see here is basically calculating the equate behind the scenes, so you can use the equate. So there's no problem in any of that. It was just the actual flow of it, and it's not necessarily just the GoToWebinar meeting here, but the template just seems just of late, the newer versions of Clarion 10, there is so much flicker. So you can see here, I don't know if you can see, if I switch between 2010 and 2013 and looking around this here, there is so much more flicker now because it's doing calculations. And it's just little UI things like that. I suppose I'm trying to polish it before release, but I just don't like how you see all the flicker and so on and so forth. Plus, it's a very busy tab.
Yeah, I noticed the flicker there just as you were doing it. I don't know about anybody else, but certainly I wouldn't worry too much about that. If I saw that happening, as long as the code works, that's all I'm really interested in. The actual niceties of exactly sort of how it's on screen and everything like that, and whether it flickers a tiny bit or not, wouldn't bother me one iota.
Oh, you see, really, things like that really get to me, and I really am at the mercy of the Clarion language here, because if we look at the the template itself,
I appreciate that.
I have to do them in sections. So you can see here, if we select 2007, then we get a calculation of we call a particular drop, we calculate, so that's great, and we pass it a 1. So I wanted to make that just a variable from up here, but it doesn't like that. It takes the last static variable, which is quite an annoyance. So you see in these, when you start introducing sections and enabling and disabling, unfortunately you start to get the flicker. But I'm limited by what I can do with that.
Well, I can certainly give you my viewpoint that I wouldn't be in the least bit bothered about the flicker, Andy. I don't know whether there's anybody else online that wants to chime in and give you their viewpoint as well.
I'll open the mic. So, David, yours is open, and Graham and Greg and Mary. So there you go. We've got 5 mics open, although Mary's just muted herself, so it's okay. And Graham, I can see you said it looks good and it's easier, much easier to use, because there's every chance you probably missed a few of the previous webinars because I've not loaded them. But what we've done is, I'll just save that so we can just reopen it. Go to where are we? Here we go. We'll go with one of the new ones, the 2016. And no. Why are we not getting? Oh, that's okay. Sorry about that. I put the wrong value into the template. So if we go to the 2016 theme again, there was one prepared, you'll get the specify, and you can see there's quite a few. So, and there's new equates for all of these, so of course they are switchable at runtime as well. So if everyone's happy with that type of approach, and you don't think it's too busy, then I will literally just repeat and rinse that through the templates, because this is the last bit I was working on.
Andy, I think that looks brilliant, because it means you don't have to go and look through the DLL to what they actually called again.
Yeah, and some of them, especially the 2016, weren't actually documented. So I was having to, in worst case scenario, I cracked one of them open in a hex editor to go and find all the actual innies, which is not something I'd expect anybody to do, including myself. But Yeah, so basically you'll have the equates now, and you'll have a nice easy selection. And of course, we spoke about the resource template, which is not going to be released. I'm not holding 18 up any further for the resource template. It can follow straight afterwards. And Graham, for what we mean by that is we're introducing basically a resource template, so you can add that to your app and specify certain settings for all of the products on just one template. So then you'll be able to say, I want to use Office 2010 and I want to use it on all templates that I use. So then when you add a calendar and a task panel and command bars, then you can say, take my settings off the resource, and instead of specifying them separately.
That would be a big time saver.
Yeah, and of course it's the beauty of that, and it's John who's pushed it. I have to give credit to John for it. It's going to be multi-DLL compatible, so you add it to your central dictionary or your data app, and then in all your other apps you can just say, of course, it's compiled in another app, and hey presto, it gets the CodeDrop version number. I'm trying to think what they were. We want the theme settings, the CodeDrop version, and so on and so forth. I think the licenses were in there as well. There's a whole host of things all in there. Of course, on that one you can override, so you can say use version 18 across the board except for task panel, and on that use version 17 if you wanted to for whatever reason. So yeah, that's the general plan of attack. But I'm not going to hold up the release of 18. What I'll do now is I'll just take these settings, flush them through to the other templates. Obviously, it needs to generate the correct code for you, but take that as a given. And the code is there for that. If we just bring in the lib, this is where it does some of the calculations as to setting the defaults. These are the froms, which you've just seen. So you can see on like the 2016, there are quite a few. I mean, that's 600 odd characters. That's a good line. And yes, basically, there is another calc, I forget where it is, which actually writes these values for you into the actual template code, generated code at template code, that is. So yeah, all of the bulk of the work is done. It literally came down to the UI, and it was me just playing about wanting to just have one of these and just one variable instead of a variable per style. It just makes the code a bit bulkier afterwards, but that's my problem, not yours. Okay, well that's version 18, and numerous people have asked, Andy, where are you? It will be out imminently. We'll finish a tiny bit off today after the webinar, and then I will press ahead tomorrow with it. So literally as soon as they are physically available, I'll get them uploaded, because we're already a good week or so over what I wanted it to be. And besides which, I haven't got the time to finger, so I need to get them out anyway. Okay, one other thing I forgot to mention. I don't know who's going to CIDC this year. Hopefully plenty of you are. Apart from anything, it's a really good event. But if you're not, then what? Sorry, if you are, and possibly if you're not, we're offering training. We've got requests of a few people to see if we wanted to do offer training at the event. I'm a big believer in not clashing with, from a schedule point of view, and making people choose, because I just don't see the point in it. I think it's wrong. So the way we're going to work it is we're going to do the offer the training on the Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. And they're going to be about 3 hours. So, because it's going to be a long day as it is, so you don't want to, you don't want to batter people's brains. We want to get the most out of the session. We'll be covering different content on each of the nights. So if anyone's been to the training in the past, the way we did it over a couple of days, we built the application. We actually built the Formula One application, which we've seen in these webinars a couple of times. These will be a slightly bit different in that each one of the days are going to be self-contained. So, for example, in day and then there's no set day for the topics, but in one of the days, hypothetically the Monday, we could be using navigation. So we'll cover the command bars, the task panel, and the shortcut bar, that type of approach. On another of the days, we'll cover the actual UI enhancements. So adding pop-ups, we're on Windows 10, we get pop-ups flying up every 2 minutes for an email or Dropbox or whatever. Adding pop-ups, adding docking panes to your application, making the most out of the UI controls within your application. And then on the third day, we're going to dedicate that to just the calendar, because it's quite a beast, and I want to make sure people are getting the most of loading it in good speed, using facilities like list events to be able to basically query recurring patterns in a real-time calendar, that type of thing. And we'll have a look at syncing with external data sources as well, and so on. So that's just like putting it out there. For attendees, obviously, great to see you there if you're there. And online attendees, of course, you can do that as well. And there will be recordings available for anybody who unfortunately can't attend CIDC 2017. So we will be doing recordings as well. So I don't know if that's of interest to anybody. We have sent a survey out, and the feedbacks are starting to come in. It looks like we are going to go ahead because we've already got a few people interested, which makes it worthwhile doing, and so on. So that's a good thing. So yeah. See a question. I was going to say any questions, but Graham's just. I had some weeks ago. You asked. You did about mentioned about a child window dropping behind in the docking pane. We haven't. We said we were going to cover that. Let's cover it now. You're here online, so Graham, your mic's open.
Yeah, I'm awake this time.
Just out of interest, what time is it for you there?
1:26 Tuesday morning.
Oh my days! Okay, we definitely cover this now.
But it's public holiday tomorrow. Well, public holiday today, so I can sleep.
I think you've earned having this looked at. Wow, just by sticking around until that time. So wow. Okay, so you have to jog my memory. Can we do it in the example app? Can we recreate?
In the demo one that you did back in Noyantis Fest way back when?
Okay, well yeah, that's as good as any. We can do that one. Let me just set up a folder here. So where are we? Webinars. I don't want to tempt fate, but the broadband's holding up pretty good. I'd have expected it to drop out by now. I don't want to tempt fate, but it's doing good. Okay, so was it the one that we did on the Friday webinars, or was it one of the training ones? Or does it really matter either?
I don't think it really matters.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Even if you have a look at the demo one that you've got on the website, which is the one that you did over the 3 days back in 2013.
I've got that. Yep. I'm just going to bring that in now. I'll just bring one of those in. Yeah, with Res3 Common license. So let's open that up. Okay, get this prepared first, and then we'll take it from there. Oh wow, I'm missing some files out of this, aren't I? Now, just out of interest, to show that that's going to be theme settings, which are theme files which are missing. Definitely. Just going to have a look at what they are. Oh, okay. These changes are going to start biting us a little. Right, no problem. Interesting thing is, them styles are supposed to actually be there. Okay, we're not here for the themes, so let's just choose one of the standard ones. There you go. Just so we can actually see the docking pane issue, which is the thing we want to focus on. Okay, so just talk me through the steps again. It's
So say press where you've got emails over on the left-hand side.
Okay.
And open up your test line. Just the single entry you've got there. Oh, see that one you've got to fill the pane.
Right, yep, let's turn that off. Yep. Do we do that on? Oh, we don't really matter. Let's turn it off on that one. So that basically is currently being told that it can basically go over the top of its parent and take on the particular its parent space and so on. So we'll turn that. Emails again. Okay, yeah.
So now you say you just mistakenly select back into the docking pane and it drops.
Yeah, and you can't, and if you press change, well, you're not going to be able to because you've actually still got. Right, okay, the brain in gear because I have catered for this on one of my others. Oh no, we did it. No, we did it a different way. Sorry, I'm thinking aloud. Yeah, the way I've done that in a different app is because normally, if that was a straightforward Clarion threaded chain, if you will, you'd have the Clarion window. It would contain the browse. You double click records, you bring up the form, but that window behind is basically disabled. Now, it's not disabled from Windows point of view, because if I was to do an API to disable that window, it wouldn't register the clicks, and the clicks would actually click straight through. So let's say you had another window which was perfectly fine to be active. Underneath that, the clicks would actually bleed straight through the browse and feed to the window behind. So you can't use an API to necessarily just block that, but what you can do, there's still some tricks to do with the actual the content. Graham, what I'm going to have to do on that is have a look in it's in the practice management system that I've done. I'm going to have to look in that and lift that code. Things do get a tiny bit messy with some of that, though, to be honest. And the reason there's a difference on this is that frame now, that browse, is now being used as part of the docking pane's content, and the docking pane settings for that to say, are you enabled, are you disabled, so on and so forth, are overriding Clarion's runtime for that window.
Yeah.
So that's technically what's going on. Now, of course, you have got, don't forget, you have got the ability, and this might well be the actual the key to it. on a thread, sorry, not on a thread, on a pane, let's go to where we define them. So we've probably got them in here, and we will have our panes. So we'll have our pane for email. And don't forget, you've got a state, so I can see the pane and the contents are enabled, the pane only is enabled, the contents only are enabled. So if I was to say the pane only is enabled, of course, this would be no good to even recreate the thing, the issue. But it's just to give you the example. I shouldn't be able to do anything on here, even though it looks like it is. I don't know if you can hear my mouse, the physical click, but I'm double clicking away there, and the contents of that pane look okay, but they are, to all intents and purposes, dead. And of course, so I think the key will, for me, the way I'll approach it is, if I know that I've left that window and gone to a child window on that thread, I'll apply that setting to the thread. Unless, of course, the child window is taking, like the original example, is taking the place of its parent. If it's taking the place of its parent, you want the frame to be enabled, the pane to be enabled. But if it's not, and it's a normal MDI window which is just being floating around, then what I'll probably do is do that, basically disable the content of the pane while making it look like it's still, enabled, and then when focus comes back to it, bring it back to life again.
Okay.
Yeah. Should we actually try it through some code here? We can put it on the chain.
If other people have got questions, I don't want to sort of take up the whole night. It's not my birthday after all this time.
There is this thing about the birthdays, isn't there?
There certainly is.
Well, no, it must be 1:30 in the morning, whatever. So I think you've earned it. Less one, and there's no questions anyway, and it's good knowledge for everybody. So it's going to be the type of workaround. So let's just take a quick look at the emails pane. I can just get my code from that. It's not the select. It's going to be basically where it's defined. So we set the content, set pane enabled. I think it might be, could well be that one, but I better just open the equates out to have a look. Pane enabled actions. Okay, so the four settings are disabled, enable client, enable actions, and enabled. So we're going to switch it. There's the others, so we can see that they are enabled. So we're going to switch it to that when we press a change, and then when we come back, we're going to put it back to enabled. So I'm thinking along the lines of the run. No, okay. Is it something execute number, something like that? Do you know what? Of course, it's not in there. It's okay, things get a little more complicated because the pane is up at on the main application, and we want to interact with the browse email procedure. Okay, so what I'm thinking is on the child window opened, so we'll have the pane ID, we'll say of email, so we're going to interrogate whether the child window has been opened on the pane ID. I'll just put that code there for safekeeping. And does it pass in a level? It does, yeah, param level. So I'll just temporarily message out that level. And I expect when the browse opens, we'll get a 1, and when the form opens, we hopefully will get a 2. So along the lines of level 1, Oh, I need to enable the content. Sorry. We're not going to get far without it. Oops. And this is good working knowledge for the docking panes anyway, so you can actually see what options you've got open to you. So here we go. So we can see a level 1, and if I was to change, I see a level 2. Even though it's not docked, it still keeps track of the particular levels and so on behind the scenes. So on that, then it will be along the lines of if the level is greater than 1, then we'll only want the actions, but failing that, we want just the pane enabled. That could be true of any pane if you want the truth. Oh no, because some of them are allowed to be docked and some aren't. So we'll just put it on the email for now, and we'll put it on the close of the child window as well. So if we run that, I think that will be the kind of answer you would want in your system. So yes, it's available. I can press change, but now, that's annoying. You can always press a Control F6, but that's not exactly what we're wanting to do. Okay, just bear with 1 second. We'll see what other toys we've got at our disposal. Okay, so the chain of the things I'm thinking is, if we can detect that we've clicked, basically done an action on the docking pane, and we know that the level of that pane is greater than 1, then we want to basically tell it to bring the thing back into focus. That makes sense?
Yep.
So I'll just have a look at what we've got. If I bring that into, oops, not that. If I bring this into focus, we'll just have a look at what methods we've got. Got the docking pane manager window class. So for one, for a thread, you can calculate the highest level, so we can get that. No, not really. We want maybe on the window extension. Maybe not on that either, to be fair. Okay, I think I'm going to have to think that one through a tiny bit more, Graham, to be fair. That's definitely the start of the code, the way we'll be trapping it, to do with the trapping of the level. But it's still taking the click. I wonder if we can just say disabled. That would be nicer. So I change. I'd have expected that to change its look, to be honest there. So along the lines of we say disabled, it usually looks physically disabled. Oh. Oh. Of course, our code's just kicked in and overrode our setting. I was thinking, that's not what I expected. Oh, I always thought it actually made it look disabled. I thought in my examples I had it like that. Might be thinking something different. Okay, I'm going to have to take a look at that. It's definitely the start of what we want. That much, and we can see from my my code there that is kicking into life. It is doing what we want. Is there any way we can just in the actions, because you can receive any number of actions in here, tell it to just bring a child pane into focus? Ah, okay. Not sure this will work, but we can try it. Oh no, it's not that. I think it's no. I need the name. I was guessing. So I want to count the highest level for a particular thread, and then that means we need to get the thread for okay, so if that is greater than 1, we want to gain focus, and we'll pass it to the power and pane again. Crikey, that's tested me a little. So the idea what we're doing is saying if the highest level for a particular thread, and the thread in this question is the one for the passed in pane ID, is greater than 1, we're only doing this under email at the moment, then we'll tell it to gain focus. Now the gain focus child window should send it to the highest window in that thread. So that's open. I clicked on that. Ooh, it's not like something, but that is, it's close. No, just clicking on the background. What I probably need to do there, to be honest, is trap for a particular action, because I don't know if you've ever seen, if I just bring in the example application for this, for the docking panes. I'll just run it, we don't need to compile. But if we look at what actions are being posted, then, what version is this running? 16.3.1. Not that one, that one. Must have to compile it. Basically, the actions, they come thick and fast. So I probably have to trap for a particular action. At the moment, it's probably just being bombarded. That's why.
We're getting the error.
Yeah.
The crash.
So I can just have one quick put that over there. Keep looking on the other monitor for it. Action. None of those. Okay, so if the action equals I will try that. There's a few, but that could well be a good candidate. So we're onto here, we're onto there, we click, and no. Okay. A little annoying, I've got to admit. It's going to be that, Graham. So we're close but no cigar. But it's going to be that. So I'll focus on having a look at particular actions, see what they are, and trap it accordingly. But that's going to be the kind of approach I want to take.
Okay.
Just trying to.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's no problem. I was trying to see quickly if there's any of them. Floated, closed, closing, docked. None of them stand out. I'd have to put debug on to have a look at exactly what's a good place to actually trap, if you will. Now the action is definitely a good place to trap. You can see the code here where it's trapping. See the activators, quite a lot's going on that. Some of these do actually bring the last one back into focus, so you never know, one of those might actually do it. We only need just one to trigger. It's just we don't want it if it's triggering all the time, that type of thing. That's what'll be happening there. I've got it here, a note. I will look at that and finish it off and see if we can get that into the build. There are actually one of the other options we've been asked for, and it's related directly to this extension template. Just let me make a note on this. Won't be a second, sorry. Okay. At present, when you use the docking panes, you add the global, and it automatically adds the extension template, the one that we just used a second ago. So this content management. Now, we saw a minute ago that we could interrogate the level in the main app frame. We could say a child window opened and still basically get events posted back from a window which has nothing to do with the docking pane, be the update form of with the HTML window in this scenario. So basically, that is because that code is automatically added to every window. Now there's reports, and there are some funnies in there, or some code going on, which can cause a couple of instabilities. So we've got users disabling, not just turning off here, but physically disabling the template, which means no code is added and generated whatsoever. One approach we're going to look at is this doesn't get added automatically. You only add it when required. But of course, it's got to be backwards compatible, so we don't break your app and so on and so forth. But that's one of the things we're looking at for this next release as well. So just giving people the heads up. One point, does that make sense on what I've just said? Because I know you use lots of people use the docking panes. Actually, they are quite quite popular.
They're one of my favourite. But just wondering, previously we'd had some discussions. Remember, I had the flashing.
Yes, that's right.
The docking pane, and sort of seemed to redraw where the child.
Yeah, it was a bit OTT on the redraws, and I put some work into that because I know we put some debugging, especially with the Ultimate Debugger. That helped actually as well. There's definitely too many events going on. It's a matter of which is the lesser evil. You have to trap them and cover lots of eventualities, but you can also be guilty of trapping too many and of painting carte blanche, if you will. So I will make sure I'll see about that. Less painting, if you will, less flicker, and so on for the next build, because you did have it. Was it 352 didn't have it, and 353 did have it, something like that? If you remember rightly.
Yeah, I think 351 didn't, and then 2 onwards did.
Yeah, and that's when a lot was done to do with layering, repainting, and so on.
Yeah.
So that's where I want to take some of that out. Keeping all the functionality, of course. We don't want to lose any of that, but taking out a lot of the repaints. Apart from anything, it will look smoother. It will look cleaner as well.
No, thank you. But appreciate all your time, Andy.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate you using them. One thing I forgot to mention earlier. If we just quickly switch back to the 18, which was my test, actually. You can see it's in progress there. If you use the resource template, which will be coming along, obviously there'll be brand new settings. So you'll have to do a one-time pass through your application. Of course, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. So that's a worthwhile thing doing. But in the version 18 upgrade, I can't confirm at the moment how, because I'm introducing new variables, which we mentioned earlier on in this webinar regarding the actual innies. If you're using just the defaults and so on, there's every chance in the version 18 upgrade that you might lose your old setting and you might just have to go and restamp it. And that's because I was trying to keep from a template language point of view, I was trying to keep just the variable used to be something along the lines of, was it style ini? Actually, you might be all right, but just I'll know more just before the release, and I will put a disclaimer during the actual install, just to remind you that if you are going to lose that particular setting, to just go to your global extension and reset it. That is, of course, presuming you are using external themed resources and so on and so forth, that type of thing. So, but there's every chance on this, because the way it's being implemented, you might just lose the setting. It's a one-time hit, but you might lose it. Any other questions or ideas or feedback? Greg. Sorry, Greg, I just saw something come up. Okay, Greg's just asking, just on a quick question, quick look. So Greg's asking, property grid, could you look at the hyperlink problem I emailed about? Okie dokie. Greg, I take it you've got no mic. I tried opening it, but it's not. Doesn't seem to want to open your mic. Oh yeah, yes it does.
I do have a mic for a short time, Andy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Yep. I got the email. Sorry, I'm just this last week desperately trying to catch up on on lots of stuff. Obviously, including the version 18s. So let's have.
I thought that might keep you busy. Yeah.
Well, it's not that there's other things, tools. There's other tools in the pipeline as well. Don't want to say too much before. We are going to be holding a Friday webinar before the DevCon, where we'll be launching at least one, if not two, new products, and one of them you really should be excited about because it's really good.
Okay.
And I mean it's really good. Okay, that's enough about that. So, Property Grid. Let me open up the Property Grid for you. It's really good actually if you do communications, any kind of communications, and you really do want to be present for it.
Excellent.
So, the hyperlink. Talk me through it quickly if you will, and let's have a quick look.
I have, let me get into my app a moment. In Create Items,
Yep.
I created a simple item for a map. I then added a set item property for the map to make it hyperlink, value of 1. When I run the program, it displays the text as text, but it doesn't display it as a link, and it doesn't work as a link.
Okay. Let's have a quick look. So let's just compile the example to start with. We'll do it through the template. I take it you're just manually doing it, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But am I right? You're manually creating it?
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
So hyperlink. We got one here somewhere? No. Well, let's just change one. Don't really be any string item. There, we'll change that string item to be a hyperlink. Okay, so we want that. It's how you can be. Let's face it, might as well. And God, it's a while since I've done this. Where do we actually tell it it's an hyperlink?
Is it under type on the first tab?
No, I think we're actually looking at a glaring omission here, if you want the truth. Okay, just 1 second. Not seeing anything in there. Question, the control does support hyperlinks, doesn't it? I'm sure it does.
I found it somewhere, Andy. I don't recall where.
Yep, no problem. Let's have a quick look. We'll go straight to the item itself. Might be under the metrics of the item, but we'll have a look. Item type. Let's have a look if we've got an equate for one. Command bar supports it. There is no mention of. There's no mention of in there. How are you setting it to be a hyperlink, if you don't mind me asking? Because I'm not seeing anything in. How are you setting it to be a hyperlink? Because I'm not seeing anything in the actual in the class itself.
I'm using the set item property.
Yep.
And somewhere, and I forget where. Let me look at my search history once. Somewhere I found that. I did look at the equates. I saw there was no equate for the property grid.
Well, let's have a quick look. I clicked.
Honestly, it's not in my search history anymore, Andy, so I
no,
don't remember where I got it.
You've got it there, property grid. Specifies whether to display the caption of the button as a hyperlink. Right. Okay. Right, okay. So it's worth a quick look. So we'll go back to that. Item, just add a button to that. So we'll have a button, we'll have that as the text, and we want it to be a hyperlink. Got that. So we don't want that to get the value. So we scroll down, here's our string. You've got that. So it should display as so, but it is a button and they're going to have to click on it. Now, of course, I haven't put any code to tell it what to do on that. I can do, of course. That's not a problem. But it's still technically an entry, and the hyperlink is only basically replacing the button element of it.
Okay. I mean, that's doable.
That's okay. Is that still okay for? So if you want to do that, then let's just have a quick look at what we've just done on the string. So I think it was something like string item. Let's have a look at the generated code for you. So we've added an in-place button to that item. We added a button called NYS. It has some alignment properties for NYS, and now we're talking about the entity NYS.
Job safety checks.
So all of these, and basically it's a caption, and we set the caption and then set the in-place button property of that button, the hyperlink property, set it to true.
Is there by chance a property to left align the button?
Yep, the alignment.
Excellent.
Oh, do you mean in place of the actual string entry?
Yeah, that would be fine. That would be perfect.
I don't think it does. I will check for you, of course. I'll tell you what we'll do. Just temporarily, I'm not going to have it as a hyperlink. I'm going to have it as a button. And we'll have it left aligned so we can just visually see it. I know we could have seen it, of course, just as the link itself. So down to the string, and there's a button. Oh yeah, so it will left align. Okay.
Excellent.
And there are the equates for. I mean, the generated code only does 1, 2, 3, and so on. But there are equates for the alignment, of course. If you wanted to code it yourself and use the equates, so you're future-proofing it, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So back to that. We'll have it as a hyperlink. And just thinking, if you didn't want that to be, you don't really want it to be an entry, do you?
No.
So would you get away with? Just trying to see if we could have that as a label, but it doesn't support it. Okay, what options have we got then? Can't disable it because you wouldn't be able to click on the link. Drop none. It's read only. Yeah, so you can maybe get away with that. So only the button should be valid. And what we will just do is we'll just have it so we've got some code in there. So under the property grid, you should have a button, in place button accepted, something like that. Yeah, in place button accepted. It'll pass you the button that's been, but it will also generate you the embed pointer as well.
That's very nice.
So what I thought we could do, but interesting. The common class makes use of shell execute, but it doesn't actually. It doesn't do it for us. Okay, so we'll just put a message up, but you should just be able to shell execute, which would open their default browser accordingly, and so on and so forth.
Actually, I use keeps off hyperactive, so message is fine here.
Yeah, okay, no problem then. So you got the idea. Okay, down to our string. There's one last one what we could do with. Is that because it's read only? The button doesn't appear. Let's have a look at any settings to capture and emulate. Entry no. I had a thought at the back of my mind that there was an actual setting to say show the buttons all the time, because I'm sure I do the same in one of mine. We'll turn the read only off. That might be a bit of an overkill. I'm going to say we could trick it through the mask. So that will get you, but it's when you click on it. I'm just seeing if we can find another setting for you regarding visible. No. Might be a property on the button itself. We can take a look at the actual ActiveX.
Okay.
If we bring that back into focus, so instead of it being a type, we want it's an actual button. So we'll go back up. In place button. Oh, not that one. Enabled. Show always. Yes, that's right. Okay, so that's not there now. What we'll do at the moment, I'll just do it in the init complete. You might get away with doing that in the create afterwards, but I'll just do it in the init complete because we know by that point everything's created. So if I just did self dot set in place button property, it's the button NYS, and we want the show always to be true. Okay, there it is.
Perfect. That's great, Andy. Thank you.
Should really expand that out. I'll put that down on the to-do list for the property grid. Should really have that as by default. We shouldn't have been coding that. The template should support it for you. PG.
I could actually use that frequently. The more I'm working with property grid, I see lots of opportunities for it.
We've got no other questions. I'm actually going to. Oh, Roberto's asking about 1801 installs, and Roberto, we're we mentioned them earlier because we had a quick chat regarding the new theme settings. The answer is ASAP, literally ASAP. We are close. Keep saying it, but we are close. There's no other questions. We've got about 15 minutes. Let's quickly mod the template, unless anyone else has got any other questions, and we'll put that change in for you, so it will go into the next build.
Well, that'd be great for me.
Well, it's the general idea of our user groups, so hopefully people get what they want out of them.
I think several of us would be quite interested in that mod, Andy.
So it did seem a bit of an omission, I have to admit. So it's going to be the in-place buttons. I'll do a search for in-place. Here we go. And if we have a quick look at our template interface, it's because you set it per button. I think we'll go with actually putting it on the actual buttons, because you might want it on some, you might not want it on others. But we'll also give you a method to do all and a switch to do all. So yeah. So we've got to. That's not it, is it? Don't say we already had it after all that. Just have a look at our code. It's that switch. You've already got it. So if we were to tick that, can someone just speak to us and let me know that the broadband hasn't dropped out?
No, you're still there, Andy.
Everything went very quiet, and I've had that so many times today because of the broadband issues. Yeah, I thought people had just gone then. Yeah, so basically, Greg,
I think we're all just watching intensely.
It was just our setting, so we actually had it. Like I say, there it is. So it was just a setting on the actual template. So that was a quick fix. It was already here. It was already in there. So just to quickly show you where that was again, we go to the button. Sorry, wrong one. So string. Go to a particular button, and it was the show button when item has lost focus. Not really has lost focus, it's when item is not in focus, is better wording there.
Hey, Andy.
Yes.
I could make a suggestion that would help guys like me probably. When you have text like that to describe the function of a template option, it'd be really cool to add parenthetically the actual property or function name used in the classes or in the
I know what you mean. Something
might not be room all the time, but boy, being able to see that would send me down the right road, I think.
I've got you. Something along the lines of, well, it probably would. Trigger happy, 1 second. Back to that. Like so, yeah.
Yep. That would be a big help for me.
And I've left the has in there, so it would be okay when the item is.
You'll get all the templates updated with the 18 release?
Oh yes, I love every one of the properties. I wouldn't even like to. The template is set as it is. I wouldn't even like to guess how many it sets. People ask, what do they all do? And we've been writing them. We've just passed our 9-year mark. So there's a few of them been done in them 9 years. I forget myself, which I've just demonstrated. But it's not a bad idea. Definitely going forward, and if we can, as I go through any like there. So, show button when item is not in focus. Show always. That works.
Yeah, I really like that. That's nice.
Sometimes, and there's plenty of times where the particular facility provided by the templates isn't actually provided by CodeJock. So basically, what I do is basically I fill in the gaps. I make a bit of work. I think, for example, on the entry itself. So if we look at the entry here, and we can see it's required read only, and so on and so forth. I don't think they have a required. That's something that I, because I know Clarion, we're used to those type of settings in Clarion, so yeah. I go through and add them and do the necessary checks.
And we appreciate it.
Oh no, I'm not saying it for that. I'm just saying there's not always the possibility to be able to show you what the CodeJock equivalent would be, because there is no CodeJock equivalent. It's just the level of, well, expectation, I suppose, usability and expectation. But I will, definitely on any new ones as I'm going through, room permitting, of course, I'll put them in.
Thank you.
So no problem. Oh, and David's got a question. Which David, the mic should be open. You want to fire away? No, David. Just make sure your mic's open.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Ah, yes, you're there. I don't know if that was mine. I just muted and unmuted you again. That could have been my side.
I did the same thing over here. I thought, well, I'll just mute it and see if it works. So, yeah, my question was with the property grid and the option that you added to be able to load it from a table or a file, from the dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the challenge that I'm having is a dictionary that I have has a bunch of the date time guys in it, where it's speaking of Clarion versus CodeJock. This is one of those, where the fields are.
So it's a group.
There's a group, right, and then you got the date, the time, overlaid on top of it. And so when the property grid hits those tables, it has a problem with that.
Wow.
It seems it like picks up the groups.
Right. I was going to say, I've not actually. I definitely wouldn't have catered for that because I never thought of it. To be fair, so what actually happens? What does it paint? Say you've got 5 fields before, then you've got the group, date, time, and 5 fields afterwards. What do you actually get in your grid?
It looks like it tries to pick up. Well, you get compiler errors, but it tries to pick up the. It looks like the group as a
field in its own right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So really, what that wants to do is basically find that and ignore, if you will. I'm happy to. Should we just try something like that?
Oh, that'd be good.
Where are we? Dictionary. Let's have a quick look. I suppose we'll put in the type of structure that you would have expected here. So we say we've got a date time. Now, do you do that as string 8?
Yes.
And then put it as an over afterwards?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, let me just double check that too.
Yeah.
I'm so used to seeing it.
Am I doing this wrong? I've got to admit I don't use the over too often. Not in the dictionary anyway.
Yeah, let me get back over so I can see both here. So, oh yeah, you have to save. So you can set up your groups, over
Okay.
that guy, but then you have to save the dictionary and go back into it. It does some weird.
Right. So if I was to say over now.
I think you actually you say, well, you put a group underneath that, underneath the string. Then there's a group.
Oh wow, do you? Right.
Yeah, and then that group, those date and that time is in that group, and then the group overlays the. I'm just gonna go, like I said, verify my dictionary real quick, but they're all over the place in this one. Let's see, yeah, that's right. So you have a string of 8, and then a group that's also a string of 8, and then the date and the time is part of that group.
Yep.
And then that group is over the string.
Yep. Over the string.
Right.
Oh, hang on. Just let me get that right. So I've got the date and time, string 8, and then the group.
Yep. And then the date and the time should be part of that group. So you want to move those move them up. There you go. Yep.
Where's the...
You might need to just switch away from it. It's one of those dictionaries has a few little quirks there, but
Yep.
maybe just use the up arrow thing.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. And then that group is over that string. The group is over the date time guy. Yep. And it is. There you go. I mean, it already is set there, it looks like.
Yeah, there. Okay.
And then sometimes you have to save that and then go back in, maybe make sure that it actually did what.
Looks good. Yep. Date time group. I'll just browse that. Oh, don't even exist, so yeah, that should be fine. Let's knock up a quick example of that. So for those who don't use this facility, it was a new option we added, which let you basically paint your property grid dynamically at runtime from the dictionary.
Yeah, very helpful.
So let's have a quick look.
Instead of specifying all the fields and everything.
I was going to say you're going to have to do the we're going to have to do the all, aren't we?
Yeah, that is kind of the deal. Yeah, you do the all, and then you can exclude them but you can't really. I don't think you get to it enough to. It doesn't seem to take it whether you exclude them or not.
Oh, it should do. If it doesn't, then that's a bug. Okay, so very rough and ready, but
yeah,
see what we want. Oh,
serve the purpose.
Yeah, basically. And not centered. So we will say on this property grid, we want its data source to be a file.
Yep.
We'll have a category of all. I had to think what that was then. All, and the items are the customer table.
Yeah.
So without the over, we'd have been fine. But you say that will give us compile errors.
Yeah, I believe it doesn't compile. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. So what's it generated? That'll be very interesting. Before it's done the date. It's done the group. We should really miss out the group. It's done the date. You'd want that. It's done the time. You'd want that.
Mm-hmm.
But what is that? Is that the string? Okay, just having a quick look. Clear and add. So temp field item counter. So it's going to go through here. So I think we want to miss out. No, not that one. Item name. That should get rid of that one, but equally, I don't think you want the group either, would you?
No, probably not. Clarion dates are kind of a double edge. Yeah, they're pretty handy, but then also
Catch you away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so keeping what we had. Let's compile first. See if our test compiles this time.
Yeah.
No. Now what's on this?
Got one of them. No.
So that'll be where we are. Item accepted. So we want the same check where it's generating the code for the item accepted. So I'll send that. Add to queue. Yeah, item accepted embeds. And it's generated just a blank of, was it not? Of course, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's TPL, no. Maybe it's of field ID. Yep, there. Okay, we'll try and compile and then we'll have a quick look at the generated code. But I think we should be okay. No.
Oh, close.
I wonder. That was if it was field. Of course, we're going to need it in file as well.
I'm sure glad you know this stuff. Wow. That's all I can say.
Trying to think where the calc is actually. There's got to be a calc somewhere. Insert calc. Oh, insert calc there. Yeah. No point in checking for it to be excluded. Oh, crikey. Right, just go back 1 second. Now we can put that in, and then we can put that in. Okay, that should do it. So we've got the file field type, and we should have calculated them so we can start interrogating the name there. Okay, third time lucky. Okay, so if we look at our test. I didn't think there was any tables in there. I've just deleted the table. Component does not match physical file structure. I've just deleted the TPS. Have I declared it incorrectly or something?
Yeah, let's I can see.
Like I say, I don't.
So that, you gotta check the overs and stuff from the dictionary. That I've seen it, like lose it a few times, or I don't know why.
Does that need to be after?
It gets it eventually. String, no, that's okay.
And that group is over the string. That's not me doing it the wrong way around or anything like that, is it?
Nope. Maybe check it, double check to see the attribute, make sure it's over it.
Date time, nothing there.
Yeah, see. Oh, no, okay.
Oh, no, that's just the date time. The group is over the
that's right, yeah.
Date time. 8. That should be 4 bytes and 4 bytes.
Yeah, let me check here. I'll check it. Date time. Yeah, the other one's date and then time. My group is a string 8. Your string picture says string 20. I don't know. I don't know if that makes a difference.
I didn't think on group it'd make much of a difference. We can try that.
But that's the only thing I see there that's.
Oh. Actually, it's not creating the actual table now. Oh, wrong one. It's physical file structure. Press OK to the end. There is no table created. Here's my folder. And yeah, so Clarion is not creating it, so it's got to be in the definition. Anybody use overs like that in TPS rather than SQL? I take it you're back-end SQL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can show you mine. I mean, they work.
Oh no!
But they look.
I tell you what, I have seen the similar to this anyway. So it must be TPS just not liking it. Browse. It says it's browsing, but there's no TPS created in the table, so that's not quite true. Sorry, in the folder.
Yeah, I thought TPS would define that, but I haven't used them in TPS in a long time. Yeah, we use TPS files, but no dates in them.
Well, from a generation point of view, we should be good to go. So give it a go. In the next build, if there's a bug in it, then of course we can open it up.
Yeah.
But
okay.
You've got that.
Yeah, I'll try it out later this week, and I'll let you know next week.
Yeah, because you've got them in the dictionary, you're using them, and so on and so forth. So you should be good to go with them. So.
Yeah, I won't have that issue. So.
What I will just do though, before we forget, is update the version history, because I will forget.
Thanks, though, Andy. I'll try that out.
Yep, no problem. So it was groups and overs
For dates.
no longer generated. I forget what the actual facility is called. We added it. For those. For data source. Da-da-da. That's missing one too many. I will check that's right, but I think we're done. That was an okay webinar. We did okay without John.
Yeah, we made it.
Oh. Okay, I will check that's right, but I'm sure.
Excellent webinar, Andy.
Yeah, we're getting there, and you will get 1801. I promise.
We're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, so am I. So am I.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I'll just move that around and then it'll be done. So yes, until next week. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
Okay, cheers. Speak soon. Bye.
Thanks very much, Andy. Bye.